Hi there, welcome to a brand new episode, and if you're thinking to yourself that doesn't look like the Bristol Channel, well, you'd be absolutely right. This is of course Chesil Beach in Dorset, and every year thousands of anglers descend around this time to target the resident Plaice population. Well, today I'm going to do exactly that. We've got clear blue skies overhead, clear water out there. Let's hope the fish are in a feeding mood. Well, it's nice to be fishing somewhere a bit different today. Well, a lot different really. I've got to say I'm really glad I bought the beach shelter, because without that I think it could have been quite nasty. There's a really strong wind today coming from the north, but it has flattened the sea off. The wind is perfectly offshore at the moment. Great conditions. Today I fancied a bit of a change on the reel front, and I've got a pair of pen casting specials. Now I've loaded them up with a 0.33 mono, which is a little bit fine, so I'm going to go and wet a line now just to make sure they're bedded in nicely. So to start with, I'm just going to fish the one rod. I want to see what the tide's doing, see how long I can leave baits out for. And I'm thinking I'll leave that one for 15 minutes to start with, just to see what happens. Well, that was an interesting experience. The wind just really kicked up and pulled the shelter over, but that's okay. I've firmed it up again now. We'll live. So on a day like today, when the wind really is blowing, there's no way you're going to see a bite, and it's literally a case of leaving the baits out there for a set period of time and seeing what happens. The problem we've got today is going to be spider crabs. Now, spider crabs always move inshore around this time of year, and they love snipping hooks off and stealing baits, so we don't want to be leaving baits out for too long. I'm going to leave this first one out there for 15 minutes, then I'm going to wind it in and assess the situation then. Okay, so time to check this first bait of the day and see what's going on out there. Well, it's so blowy, it really is. It was quite nice just sat in the shelter looking at the rods, but you're not going to catch any fish just doing that all day. And the thing we've got today as well, it's quite a big tide, so the tide has gone out a long way, and I'm up on the ridge, and there's a lot of sand exposed down there, so I'm literally going to wind in from here, unless I think I've got a fish on, and then I'll walk down over the sand and have a look. Well, there we go, lovely little Chesil Beach Plaice. Not the biggest fish in the world, but on the first cast, who cares? Beautiful little spotted Plaice. Didn't see the bite, but as I said, you're not going to on a day like this when it's really blowing hard. It literally is just a case of fishing to the watch. Right, let's get the hook out of this one and pop him back. He's a little bit small to keep, but I dare say if I do catch a bigger one, it will be coming home with me tonight. Well, it's happening again. The weather's going absolutely crazy. You can see that lovely blue sky behind me. I've got the sun in my face, but if I pan around this way, black, absolutely black. Well, my first baits I left out there for about 15 minutes just to assess the crab situation. And obviously we caught that lovely Plaice, but the most notable thing about that cast is there was still plenty of bait left on the other hook. So this cast I've left out for 25 minutes. Hopefully when I go to wind this in, even if there's not a fish on there, there'll still be a little bit of bait left. If there's not, I'll reduce my next cast down to 20 minutes. So on the first cast I put a plain lead on, and on this cast I put a wired lead on. Now the reason for that is when I first cast out the water was still quite slack. It was only just starting to run a little bit, so I could give a little bit of movement to the rig, let it cover a bit of ground. Now that the tide's running a bit, I'm going to try and anchor the bait in position, or possibly even rotate between casts, so I go from a plain lead on one cast and a wired lead on the next. Now, have we got another Plaice on here? It's a little bit of weight to it anyway. Well, there we go, another beautiful little spring Plaice from Chesil Beach. Fits in the palm of my hand pretty much. Not a very big fish, but beautiful to see all the same. The coloration, the spots, absolutely lovely. Again, he's a little bit on the small side, trying to go and ping him back, I think. Great stuff. Well, as if by some kind of magic, the wind is all but vanished now. And it really is a case of these squally showers coming through from the north. A bit of snow, a bit of sleet. Pretty miserable weather when it happens, but like I say, it blows through and the sun comes out again, the wind drops, and it's absolutely glorious. Just had a really nice slow pull over on the rod tip then. That's a definite Plaice. I'll leave him to mature a bit, but there he goes again. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one to mature a bit. Like I say, it's been out there for just a few minutes. I've got two hooks there, pretty decent sized ragworm baits, so plenty of opportunity for a second fish to come along and possibly even get a double hook up there. Lovely to see though, now that the wind has actually dropped, to actually spot those bites. It's a lovely thing to see. Well, I left this one a little bit longer. There was certainly some more signs of a fish having a nibble. And that wind's back as well, and it's freezing. Let's have a look and see what we've got anyway. I do love those kind of bites where the tip just pulls over. And it just sort of pulls over and it comes back up, and it does that a few times. That's usually a really good sign that there's something a little bit better on there. Gonna have to watch these waves in a minute. It's certainly flooding in now. Nothing like back home in the channel, but there is a bit of a sea starting to pick up. Right, so what have we got here? It does feel quite weighty, so I'm kind of hoping it's not going to be a dogfish. I'm quite surprised we haven't seen one already. They do seem to be around at the moment. And there's also a little bit of May water out there, or algae bloom if you like. But I know it puts a lot of anglers off. It doesn't seem to put the fish off though. Well, here we go, another 10 or 20 yards. It is lovely though, feeling that bend in the rod tip, that anticipation. You just slowly turning the handle, coaxing the rig in towards you. Well, it's up on the surface, which is very unusual for a Plaice. What have we got there? Right, I can see some plastic, and that's going to end up on the leader knot, and that's going to cause a real problem. So I'm just going to literally have to pull the fish in like this, up the beach, and I'm full of anticipation for what we've got here. What's it going to be? It is a lovely double shot of Plaice. There we go. Look at those little beauties. Now that's what it's all about, a lovely bite. Good indication that there was something on there. Sure enough, a couple of fine looking Plaice. And they're not in bad condition either. Like I said earlier, a lot of the time, this time of year, the fish are quite thin, they're quite spent. But these aren't, they're quite chunky. But they're still not particularly big. They're only probably 8 to 12 ounces, I expect. One of them's lip hooked at least, so we should be able to get the hooks out easily enough and get them back out there. What a cracking day's Plaice fishing so far. It's actually warmed up a bit now, so it's a lot more pleasant. I've got that nice sunshine in my face. Let's see what we've got on here, if anything. Now, I'd love to think that's the mother of all Plaice, but I think it's just the lead easing itself out of the clay. Well, isn't that the cutest little thing you ever did see? Little tiny Plaice, perfectly lip hooks though, so we'll be able to pop him back and he'll be absolutely fine. Let's get him back. Well, I've just hung my next rig up on the tripod and I thought I'd just take a moment to show you this lead. So it's a pyramid lead, as you've seen many times before, I'm sure. This is a colourful one, and in recent years it does seem to be the trends that people use this style of lead for their Plaice fishing. Does it make a difference? I don't honestly know, but the way I look at it, it's not going to put the fish off. There's a little bit of weight there. I've said that the last few casts though, and there has been. There we go, another little Plaice, covered in sand and shingle this time, but look at that, beautiful. Let's pop this one back. Well, Chesil Beach really is a magical place, and the fact that thousands of anglers flock here every year has got to tell you something. I've really enjoyed myself today, caught a number of Plaice, nothing of any real size, but who cares? When the weather's this good, that's what fishing's all about, surely. It also makes a nice change to fish somewhere other than the Bristol Channel and to actually be able to see through the water. Right, time for me to get on back. Hope you've enjoyed the show today. Please leave some feedback, it is always appreciated. Catch you next time.